An uncountable number of hearings about poverty or some aspects of poverty. The most recent series of such hearings has been chaired by Congressman Paul Ryan. The Ryan hearings purport to be, quote, a progress report on the war on poverty. It is traditional for the chairman to choose most of the witnesses who testify before committees. And on committees not run by Darrell Issa, it is also traditional for the minority party on the committees to be allowed to suggest at least some witnesses who the chairman might otherwise not want to hear from. And so the Republicans in Paul Ryan's War on Poverty hearings have actually had to listen to a few experts saying things that do not appear in any of the Republicans' talking points about poverty.
Over the last 50 years, we have really made good, strong progress in preventing and eliminating poverty, but we must stay the course and resist those who say the war on poverty has not worked. All of our charity is not a substitute for justice and for fair allocation of public resources.
Bread for the World, which is a Christian organization that advocates on the issues of hunger in our country, figured out that on the House Republican budget, the cuts in food stamps alone, that was last year's budget, would cause every church, synagogue, mosque, house of worship in the United States, just on that issue alone, to each raise $50,000 every year for 10 years to replace the amount of service that was being cut.
And today, Chairman Ryan allowed something truly extraordinary in a congressional hearing about poverty, testimony from a poor person. At the urging of Democratic Congressman Barbara Lee, the committee came face to face with the struggles of poverty when they listened to the experience of Tianna Gaines-Turner.
This photograph right here is a photo of my children. My children are everything to me. I would like to say that we need to break the cycle. We need to make sure that we all remember what the American dream is. Values, family values. I am not a number. I am not a statistic. I am not a food stamp recipient. I am an individual who lives in the inner city who just so happens to be right now struggling, just as so many Americans are struggling. We need to get back to the core values of remembering that we are people. We do not want to be looked at as someone who's on welfare and who is lazy, who wants to sit back and just collect benefits. I never wake up every day when my day starts at 7 a.m. in the morning and say that I want to be on public assistance. The food stamp program is very important to me and to my family. No one wakes up in the morning and says, we want to be on poverty. We want to stand in a 2-hour line at a food pantry to get to the front just to be told that there isn't any food. I would like to say that I know for a fact that food stamps is a very important part of my life. It helps me and my husband to make sure that we can feed our children, 3 of them with medical disabilities, nutritious and adequate food. My husband gets paid every week, and he makes $8.25 an hour. After taxes, he clears about maybe $170 a week.
$170?
$170 a week.
Okay.
I get paid $10.88 an hour. Just recently in June, my hours were cut down to 12 hours a week due to the budget. My paycheck was $222 for 2 weeks. For 2 weeks. So, you know, we're always trying to climb up. There's a constant climb. And that is the one thing I think it is important for me being here today, is for people to understand. You just broke down my whole everything. Could anyone live off of that amount of money like I do, and me and my husband, every day, every month, every week? It's difficult. It's not something that we choose to do. Of course we want to get a full-time job. Of course my husband wants to go back to school, and you know, he has a masonry's degree. Of course I want to go back to college. I'm a very smart, intellectual, independent person. But unfortunately, my circumstances don't allow me to go to school and to also work and to juggle a family. Once you start working and once you get your foot in the door and once you continue to work, and there's something else that comes up. Just because you contain a job and you have 2 people in your household like me that are working, that doesn't mean that everything is solved. That doesn't mean that you don't still need assistance. I consider myself to be very independent. I work just as hard as anybody in this room.